Hello friends, we'll be discussing the concept of indifference map here. As you know, indifference map or rather indifference curve, you have already understood about the concept of indifference curve. How we have derived that at any point on that curve, wherever you place a point on that curve, the consumer equilibrium or rather the consumer satisfaction will be at equilibrium point no matter wherever the point has been placed on that curve. This is what you have already understood. Now let us understand when many of these curves are on a graph and how exactly this constitutes the formation of indifference map here. Let's start with that part. Now, an indifference map refers to the collection of indifference curve. Map is a collection of indifference curves. So if you have 10 different curves, that constitutes a map. This is a simple explanation corresponding to different level of satisfaction. Now, every indifference curve is giving you different level of satisfaction. Hence, the map is giving you an overview of different level of satisfaction that a consumer would have. This is what is being explained here. Now, let us understand. In other words, a set of indifference curve is known as an indifference map. This is a simple explanation, simplest explanation that we can have here when it comes to indifference map. So, a set of indifference curves gives you a total indifference map here. This is the basic example. Let's read on something more of this. Now, let's figure out that there is an indifference map here. If you see, there is one IC curve that is an indifference curve here. There is another indifference curve and the third indifference curve. Now, the formation or rather group of all these indifference curve gives out the constraint or rather gives out the formation of indifference map here. This is what we have understood as of now, as per the explanation that was derived or rather as per the explanation that we have read right now in the previous slide. Now, let us go on to the next figure or rather explanation of this figure. Now, in the figure, an indifference map is given. Indifference map has been given or rather we just saw that indifference map here. There are three indifference curves that has been namely mentioned as IC1, IC2 and IC3 in this map, and each one corresponds to different level of satisfaction. Every curve that was showed in this picture gives you different level of satisfaction for good X, good Y, or probably any of the goods that we will be discussing about. Now, for instance, IC1 represents lowest indifference curve corresponding to lower level of satisfaction. How do we derive this? Let's go on to the figure again. Now, IC1, that is this. This gives you the lowest level of satisfaction. IC2 gives you a little higher satisfaction than IC1, and IC3 is the highest level of satisfaction that you could ever achieve in this indifference map. That is the reason why three indifferent curves whereby three different level of satisfaction have been explained about. Now, when we're talking about few more details, similarly IC3 represents the highest level of satisfaction in this map. This is what we have figured out right now. Now, it is to be noted that on each indifference curve, the consumer would be indifferent toward various combination, but indifference does not hold in case of different indifferent curves. If we are taking only one indifference curve, then in that situation, wherever the point is placed, in that situation, the consumer would be indifferent. The consumer would have no difference towards any of the point. Why? Is because there is just one indifference curve. For example, if you have to talk about, let me just draw this here. If this is the graph, let me just rub this and put it in a proper pointing. Now, for example, if this is the graph here that we're talking about, if this was just one indifference curve that we're talking about, wherever I'm placing the point, the satisfaction level would have been equal because this is just one indifference curve. Hence, the consumer would have phased out or rather there would have been no indifference in terms of the consumer. But the indifference does not hold in the case of different indifferent curves. But in case if you're having different indifferent curves here or rather many indifference curves here, this concept of similar satisfaction on any point does not stand true in this situation. Why is that? We'll explain it right now. For example, a consumer will receive same satisfaction from the combination of IC1. So for example, if this is IC1, this is IC2 and this is 3. So he would receive all the combinations. A specific consumer will receive similar kind of satisfaction at any point on IC1. so he would be indifferent towards any of these combinations. But if we compare IC1 and IC2, the consumer would be no different, as the combinations on IC2 yield higher satisfaction. But if we have to compare IC1 and IC2, this satisfaction cannot be compared with this satisfaction. Let me just point out with different colors here. This kind of satisfaction will not be equal to this kind of satisfaction. That means the kind of satisfaction that you're deriving on IC2 will not be equal or similar to IC1, because IC2 has higher level of satisfaction here. On that same basis, the satisfaction that you're getting on IC3 will be more as compared to any satisfaction that you get on IC2. This is also what you need to understand. So he would prefer any combination on IC2 as compared to IC1. So basis, wherever you're figuring out higher satisfaction level, you will absolutely go for that, and you won't go for any other combination on IC1 or rather the lowest difference curve. This is what you need to understand. Further, all the combinations of IC3 yield higher satisfaction as compared to any of these combinations on IC2, and hence it would be preferred that IC2 gives out more details. Similarly, between IC3 or rather IC2, will understand that I3 version or rather IC3 version gives you more satisfaction as compared to I2 version or IC2 version. Hence, you need to understand that both these things, or rather the higher the satisfaction curve, the more the chances that you will be going on that curve itself and not on the any lower curve, or rather any curve that is lowest as compared to the higher curve here. Thus, the last line or rather the last part of this thing would confirm or conclude to the consumer would always prefer a higher indifference curve. सबको हीरोइन चाहिए, कोई घर का दाल का बिरयानी खाएगा नहीं. Of course, if you're getting biryani outside, would you still go for opting in dal rice or papad masala? Nothing like that. If you're getting biryani, you will opt for biryani. If you're getting dal rice without any options of any biryani, then you will go for dal rice. But if you have dal rice in one hand and if you have biryani on the other hand, what do you think? You'll still go for dal rice? No, you won't. You'll go for biryani. Hence, the reason why we are saying that higher the satisfaction, higher the chances of opting that option or opinion there. Hence, since the higher indifference curve always represents greater quantities of both the commodities, hence higher level of satisfaction. If you are getting more satisfaction with higher level of optimum or rather higher level of goods being procured at that same time, why won't you choose that part? Contrarily, a lower indifference curve always represents less quantity of both the goods and hence lower level of satisfaction. So whatever happens, if this is the lower satisfaction curve, this is the medium, this is the higher. So if this is compared with this, of course here you're getting more goods of both good Y. So probably this is Y and this is X. Either Y का भी ज़्यादा मिल रहा है, X का भी ज़्यादा मिल रहा है as compared to Y and X here. Look at this difference. Look at this quantity and look at this quantity. Can you figure out the difference here? If you're getting higher satisfaction with higher quantities, will you still opt for this or will you go for this? Absolutely, you'll go for the higher indifference curve here. So with this thing, we conclude that whenever we are talking about indifference map, we understand how exactly indifference map is formed, which includes indifferent curves, different level of or rather different indifferent curves, which gives you level of different satisfaction here, and the higher the indifference curve, the more the chances of that being selected by the consumer, because more quantity, more satisfaction. This is how the indifferent map works here. That's it for the video. Thank you.